Joining us live for History Lesson is presidential historian Doug Wead. Doug, good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Jillian, Rob. Good to see you.
So if we take a look here, going back, only twice have they gotten it wrong. So with that being said, do you think that the candidates actually feel the pressure of that?
I think they do. I mean, Iowa's so big. It's fun. I interviewed Jimmy Carter about it. He started it all. That was 1975 at the Jefferson-Jackson Day fundraiser. They had a straw poll. Of course, the Democrats now disown the founders of their own party, Thomas Jefferson and Andrew Jackson, because they're slave owners. But they had a big straw poll. Jimmy Carter, a 2% name recognition, pulled an upset, was on the cover of Time, on the cover of Newsweek, won the Iowa Caucus a few months later in 1976, and ever since, that's been the path to the presidency for the Democrats.
Yeah, since 76, they've done pretty well. Now with Republicans, though, as far as picking the nominee, it hasn't been nearly as good as if you look back just 2016. They had Ted Cruz, as we pull it up here, winning in Iowa, and then that was about all the more damage he did. You had Rick Santorum in 2012. You had Mike Huckabee in 2008. Not nearly as successful for the Republicans.
No,
why do you think that is? Because Iowa is, it's a pretty split state. There's a lot of Republicans in Iowa. They should have their finger on the pulse.
Yeah, it's quite an anomaly. You can't win with it. You can't win without it in Iowa, because if you're like Giuliani now, Bloomberg's testing that, you don't even go to Iowa, you're out. You can't win the presidency. But in 1980, Ambassador Bush beat Ronald Reagan for the caucus. And in 1984, Vice President George H.W. Bush lost to Senator Robert Dole, but went on to win the presidency. That was the stillbirth almost of the Bush dynasty. February 8th, 1988, when the vice president came in third place. I walked George W. back to his bedroom that night, read to him from the Bible, went down to the bar. There was Doro Bush saying, "Is there any chance?" Her dad was going to resign from politics, but the next week he won New Hampshire and won the nomination.
Wow. Quite a story. I'm sure you have many of them. Let's talk about the voters in Iowa. The opinions that matter, because when you look at the Democratic Party, you have the far left socialists, you have the moderate Democrats. There is a split there, and polls right now say one thing. As you know, polls are going to change, but what do you think this is going to mean for the rest of the country as far as opinion goes?
Yeah, that's very astute, Jillian. That's the thing. This is the launching pad for candidates. That's what it did for Jimmy Carter. And it's so interesting. The people of Iowa are so authentic. One of my funnest stories is of Eric Trump. I wrote this book, Inside Trump's White House, and I interview the whole family and the president. And Eric, there's this great line. He's on his way to the caucus 2016, and he says in the car, he's going to give a speech there. He says, "Hey, guys, what's a caucus?" So here's a family that was in business but not in politics, and the Iowans like authenticity.
Yeah. Well, the Wall Street Journal reporting that a surprising number of people haven't really made up their mind on this process yet. So maybe the Democrats don't know who has the best chance of beating President Trump. That might be part of the problem. Doug, thank you so much. We do appreciate it.
That's part of the problem.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks, Jillian.